externalization, 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 externalization. Okay, everyone give a serialization, but externalization concept is nothing but most of the people doesn't aware, but which is a really helpful concept to the programmer, right? Externalization. Sir, already serialization is there. What is the need of externalization concept, or when we should go for externalization? Very simple, just observe this one. Sir, in serialization, everything takes care by JVM, correct or not? Who is responsible, who is performing serialization? Reading I value, reading J value, and save to the file, and read those values. Who is going to take care? Everything take care by the JVM. Being a programmer, just one line the programmer is writing. What is that line? OOS dot write object of D1. Sir, this doc object contain 1000 variables or 2000 variable. All those values, who is the responsible to write to the file is nothing but JVM is the responsible. Sir, in serialization, everything takes care by JVM. Everything takes care by JVM. Programmer doesn't have any control. Are you getting that? Okay, this everything takes care by JVM. What is the advantage here is, so complexity of the programming is reduced because everything JVM is going to take care. Why I have to worry? Is nothing but very easily layman also can able to perform serialization, right? Okay, this is basic. We are not required to do much code, but the problem here is everything takes care by JVM. Programmer doesn't have any control. Regarding, we are not having any control on serialization. Just call OOS dot write object of D1, saving to the file. OOS dot read object, read the object from the file. Programmer don't know how many properties are there, how these values are saving to the file, and so on. We don't know anything, right? But assume, sir, I have one account object is there. Assume that it is the account object. For every account object, there are several properties are there. Account holder's name, address, account holder's name, address, PIN number, like, account number, like, 1000 properties are there in this account object. How many properties are there? 1000 properties are there in this account object, right? Now my job is, I want to serialize this object. Sir, I want to serialize this object. So if I serialize this object, how many properties will be saved to the file? 1000 properties will be saved to the file. If I deserialize this object, then how many properties will come from the file? 1000 properties will come. Sir, 1000 properties, here also 1000 properties by default will be there. But my requirement is, sir, all the 1000 properties I don't want. Just only account number is enough. Account number is enough. If I know account number, the remaining information I will get from my database. Are you getting? So unnecessary, I don't want to get from the network. I don't want to get from the file. Just provide account number. The remaining is there with my database. I can use my database local values, right? Okay, this is, sir, if you want only account number, but whether you want only one property or two properties, compulsory in serialization, all the 1000 properties will be saved, all the 1000 properties will come out. Are you getting that? Okay, this is, in serialization, there is no way to save only one property or two properties to the file. Are you getting? Because that is not in our control. Okay, assume to write one property, assume 1 minute time is required. To read one property, assume 1 minute time is required. And to write 1000 properties, how much time is required? 1000 minutes is required. To read 1000 properties, how much time is required? 1000 minutes time is required. But actually, how many properties you want? Only one property. To write one property, 1 minute. To read that property, 1 minute. For 2 minutes work, you are doing how much time? 2000 minutes. Unnecessary system time we are going to waste. Performance is going to be down. Are you able to understand? So this is the biggest problem in serialization, right? In serialization, whether you required or not required, it is always possible to save total object to the file, and it's not possible to save part of the object to the file. Regarding sir, I want only one property. Array, you require one property, two property, compulsory total object will be saved. It is not possible to save part of the object, right? Is it clear? So performance wise, this approach is nothing but sometimes it is going to create performance problems. Best example for you, just observe. Sir, if you want to join, sir, I want to join SCJP course. If you want to join SCJP course, compulsory total Java package you should join. For Java package, if you join, then only you are allowed to attend SCJP classes. Assume that one I am going to keep. If I am keeping this type of restriction, how many people will come to SCJP class? Hardly 1 or 2 members. Regarding, I am sure these many members won't be there in the class. Sir, suppose I want to keep small relaxation. Array, if you require only SCJP, register only SCJP course. If you require total package, register total package. Based on your requirement, you can register either only SCJP or total package. No problem at all. That thing you can decide based on your requirement. If I can keep this type of flexibility to the student, then these many members are attending the class. Regarding that, okay, this observe the difference, right? Sir, whether you require one course or 2 courses, compulsory you require to join total package. Array, all the remaining courses I don't want. I don't know all. You should join total package. Then only you are allowed to attend this particular course. Is it burden to the student or not? Yes, no student is willing to join in that. The same thing is happening in the case of serialization, right? Sir, based on is nothing but this is the problem, right? Okay. So can you tell what is the advantage in serialization? What is the advantage in serialization? Everything takes care by JVM. Programmer not required to do much work. Are you getting? So complexity of the programming is very low. Is nothing but very easily we can perform serialization. But what is the problem in serialization? Everything takes care by JVM. Programmer doesn't have any control in serialization. So here in serialization, total object will be saved always to the file, and it is not possible to save part of the objects. Sir, I don't want 1000 properties, I want only one property. Array, whether you require one property, 2 property, compulsory total object will be saved. It is not possible to save part of the object in serialization, which may create performance problems sometimes. Are you getting that? To overcome these problems, we should go for which concept is externalization concept. Are you getting that? Now, immediately you may ask, sir, what is the advantage of externalization? What is the advantage of externalization? Simple point. In externalization, everything takes care by programmer. JVM doesn't have any control. Are you getting that? Everything, who is the responsible? Have you observed the word external? External is nothing but external implementation by the programmer, right? In externalization, everything takes care by programmer. JVM doesn't have any control. Second point, in externalization, based on our requirement, we can save either total object or part of the object. Sir, based on your requirement, you can join only SCJP course or only advanced Java course or only starts course, not required to join total package always. Are you getting that? Based on our requirement, I can save only one property or 2 properties. Based on my requirement, it is not required to save total properties always to the file. Relatively, performance of the code will be improved. Correct or not? Performance of the system will be improved. Sir, instead of 2 minutes work, 2000 minutes work we are not required to do. In serialization, 2000 minutes work is happening or not? Yes. Observe the difference, right? Are you able to understand? Sir, can you tell with this total knowledge, any 3 differences between serialization and externalization? Ayo. Any 3 differences? First thing, legend, first thing, in serialization, everything takes care by JVM. Programmer doesn't have any control. In externalization, everything takes care by programmer. JVM doesn't have any control. In serialization, based on our requirement. In serialization, it is always possible to save total object to the file, not possible to save part of the object. Okay, this. In externalization, based on our requirement, we can save total object or we can save part of the object. Or getting total object we can save or part of the object we can save, and so this is, we have full flexibility is there. In serialization, relatively performance is low or performance high. Serialization performance low. In externalization, performance is low or performance high? Performance high. Next, sir, can you tell when serialization is the best choice? When serialization is the best choice? If you want to save total object to the file. There are some freshers who are going to come, sir, I want to be at least 1 year in Hyderabad, I want to join total package, sir. Then automatically for them, serialization is the best choice. Sir, I have only 2 months time, I can do only 1 or 2 courses. For these people, which concept is the best? Is nothing but. So, if you want to save part of the object, then externalization is the best choice. If you want to save total object, then serialization is the best choice. Are you able to understand? Look at this basic idea. What is the need of externalization? Already serialization is there. Okay, at these points up to this. Externalization. In serialization, everything takes care by JVM, everything takes care by JVM and the programmer, everything takes care by JVM and programmer doesn't have any control. Everything takes care by JVM and the programmer doesn't have any control. And the programmer doesn't have any control. Doesn't have any control. Okay, first point. Next up. In serialization, it is always possible to save total object to the file. It's always possible to save total object to the file, and it is not possible to save, part of the object. It's always possible to save total object to the file and not possible to save part of the object, comma, which may creates performance problems. Okay, next para. To overcome this problem, we should go for externalization. Okay, next. So next point, the main advantage of externalization over serialization is based on our requirement. One minute. The main advantage of externalization over serialization is everything takes care by programmer. Externalization, everything takes care by programmer and the JVM doesn't have any control. Next up, based on our requirement, based on our requirement, based on our requirement, we can save, based on our requirement, we can save either total object, based on our requirement, we can save either total object or part of the object, either total object or part of the object, either total object or part of the object, comma, which improves performance of the system, which improves performance of the system, that's all. Are you able to understand what is the biggest advantage, what is the advantage of externalization over serialization? Sir, based on your requirement, you can save either total object or only part of the object. Sir, I want only 2 properties, no problem. In externalization, how many properties you want, you can save those many, not required to save total object always to the file. Is it clear for all of you? Serialization, externalization, observe the difference, right? Okay, now here just observe the next point, very very important. Sir, I want to serialize an object. To provide serializable ability for any Java class, compulsory the corresponding class, sir, class account implements, compulsory the corresponding class should implement what? Serializable. Okay, and the serializable interface contain how many methods? No method. It is a marker interface, because everything who is the to provide support? JVM, right? Marker interface, everything is going to take care by the JVM. But to provide externalizable ability for any Java class, compulsory the corresponding class should implement externalizable interface. Are you getting? Compulsory the corresponding class should implement what? Externalizable interface. Do you know externalizable interface contains some methods, because programmer is required to do something, contains some method, it is not a marker interface. Do you know externalizable interface contain how many methods? Just 2 methods are there. Okay, first method is write external. What is the first method? Write external. Can you tell what the second method? Wow, excellent. Okay, the second method is read external. Are you getting? So there are 2 methods are there in externalizable interface. What is the first one? Write external. Second one, read external. Right? Okay. Add to provide externalizable ability. To provide externalizable ability for any Java class, for any Java object. To provide externalizable ability for any Java object, compulsory the corresponding class should implement. Externalizable interface. Next, externalizable interface defines how many methods? 2 methods. Defines 2 methods. First one, write external. Second one, read external. First one, write external. Second one, read external. Write external, read external. Okay. Next, there is one more conclusion. Let me talk. Here there is one more point I want to talk. A bit important point. Sir, don't feel externalizable interface something which is new. No. Externalizable interface is the child interface of serializable only. Regarding is the child interface of serializable only. Sir, externalizable interface is the child interface of serializable, right? Are you getting? Externalizable interface contain how many methods? Serializable contain how many methods? No method, marker interface, right? But externalizable contain how many methods? Anna? 2 methods. What is the first one? Write external. Write external. Second one is nothing but what? Read external. Write external, read external, right? But here one very important point. Serialization concept or serializable interface came in 1.1 version of Java. 1.1 version of Java. Sir, can you tell externalizable interface came in which version? Either +1 -1, no problem. Tell some version. 1. Externalizable interface came in which version? 1. 1.5 or 1.6? 1.6 or 1.7? Ayo, 1.5 or 1.6? 1.5 or 6? 5 only, because 1.6 is recently came, right? 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, which came in which version? Okay, externalizable interface came in 1.1 version only. Okay, both came in the same version. Both came in the same version, 1.1, 1.1 only. But why serialization concept is more popular than externalization? Is nothing but it's not that much popular, but this one is nothing but very popular. Okay, serializable, at least everyone can able to tell minimum 10 minutes about this concept. But can you please talk about externalizable? No, I don't know. Is nothing but like very common. Why this one is not that much popular? Simple reason, because of laziness of the programmer. Simple reason why externalization is not that much popular. Simple answer for that, because of laziness of the programmer. Why? Is nothing but, sir, in serialization who is going to take care everything? Yeah. But in externalization who is required to take? Programmers. Are 2 big methods we require to implement. Is nothing but, sir, why unnecessary I have to take that risk? My JVM is going to take care, like, array performance problem. If a performance problem, my client has to worry. Why I have to worry? Like, is nothing but some people may fail. Regarding that's why, just why externalization concept is not that much popular, because of difficulty, because of complexity. So this is because of laziness of the programmer. This concept is not that much popular, but this concept is more popular. Is it clear for all of you at this point? Yeah. Externalizable is the child interface of externalizable is the child interface of serializable. Externalizable is the child interface of serializable. Okay, take this diagram. Take clearly. Serializable, of course, came in 1.1 version, and it doesn't contain any methods, of course, marker interface. Externalizable contain 2 methods. First one, write external, read external. Both methods should be implemented explicitly by the programmer. Remember, should be implemented explicitly by the programmer, right? So both came in which version? 1.1 version, 1.1 only. Clear, right? So that's all. Make sure you people should have clarity about this terminology, right? So let me talk a simple program, a big lengthy program. So while explaining this program, I will take care about the externalization process and so on. Okay, listen very carefully. There are several loopholes are there still we have to talk. Sir, I am taking class externalizable demo. Class externalizable demo implements. Sir, class externalizable demo implements what? Implements serializable or externalizable? Externalizable. Implements externalizable, right? Okay, this one is a very important. Externalizable. Under this class contain 3 properties. Assume 3 properties are there. sir, string s is there. Next int I and int j. So total 3 properties are there. Just for board anyway, space saving purpose, I am taking in the same line. String s, int I and int j. How many properties are there? 3 properties are there. While taking in the notes anyway, you can take one by one. 3 properties are there. Now I am taking constructor because all these 3 are instance variables. Externalizable demo. Sir, here string s, comma int I, int j. You know how to write external constructor, you know. Can you spell out what is the code inside that constructor? This dot s is equal to yes. This dot s is equal to yes. This dot I is equal to I. Next this dot j is equal to j. Okay, like so this is the constructor, right? Now just make sure, very important part. So anyway, I will continue remaining, right? Now here just main method I am taking, of course related to this class only, main method. Let me create externalizable demo object. Okay, let me create externalizable demo. Sir, externalizable demo T1 is equal to externalizable demo T1 is equal to new externalizable demo. Can you tell how many properties I have to pass? 3 properties. String I, j is nothing but like 3. So here I am taking Durga under 10 and then what? 20. Total how many properties are there is nothing but 3. Externalizable demo T1 I am taking. Now my target is, sir, I want to serialize this object. Okay, what is the code we have to do? You know, here file output stream FOS is equal to new file output stream of abc.ser. Object output stream OOS is equal to new object output stream of FOS. What is the code? OOS dot write object of T1 I am taking. OOS dot write object of T1. Here just make sure. Sir, I created one externalizable demo object T1. Can you tell how many properties are here? How many properties are there? 3. What is the S value? Durga. What is the I value? 10. What is the J value? 20. Right. Sir, I want to serialize this object to the file. Sir, this is my file abc.ser. Make sure very carefully about this terminology, right? Sir, I want to serialize this object to the file. Assume here 1000 properties are there. But I want only 2 properties, yes and I. The remaining properties I don't want. Is nothing but line. Sir, I want only 2 properties. The remaining 998 properties I don't want. Then we should go for which concept? Serializable or externalizable? Externalizable concept. Now how the flow? Here see. Whenever we are trying to serialize an object, sir, code is the same, serialization code only. Whenever we are trying to serialize an object, JVM will check is the corresponding class, sir, T1. T1 is which class, which type of externalizable demo? Is the corresponding class implements serializable or externalizable. If the corresponding class implements serializable, then total object will be saved to the file. Are you getting? But if the corresponding class implements externalizable, then the JVM is going to consider, programmer don't want total object, programmer want only 1 or 2 properties. Are you getting that? Okay, this is JVM will come to know. To save those properties, JVM will execute which method is write external method. Sir, whenever we are implementing externalizable, compulsory we have to write external method or not? Yes, here public void. What is the method, Anna? write external of object output out throws IO exception. Object output is the parent of object output sim. No problem at all. Okay, like this. And now let me explain once again. This method is a very, very important, right? Let me explain. Sir, whenever we are trying to serialize an object, immediately JVM will check if the corresponding class implements serializable or externalizable. If the corresponding class implements serializable, total object will be saved. If the corresponding class implements externalizable, programmer don't want total object, programmer want only one or two properties. That's why so simple JVM will execute which method? Write external method. Again, now conclusion 1. Can you tell when the write external method will be executed? Write external method will be executed automatically at the time of serialization. Write external method will be executed automatically at the time of serialization. Within this method, which code we have to write? Sir, how many properties you want? Only 2. Yes and I. The remaining 998 properties I don't want. Sir, which properties you require? Save those properties to the file. That's why out is nothing but object output only. Out dot write object of out dot write int of I. Are you getting right? Write int of I. So here observe, write external method will be executed automatically at the time of serialization. Within this method we have to write the code. So to save required variables to the file. Is it clear for all of you that? Okay, this is now. Can you tell at the time of serialization which properties will be saved to the file? How many properties? Only 2 properties, S and I. That's why S is equal to, what is the value? Durga saved, I is equal to 10. That's all. Sir, with respect to the file, in serialization, externalization, can you tell what the difference? In serialization, file contain all properties, but in externalization, file contain only required properties. Is it clear? File contain only required properties, right? Okay, now, sir, first half of the cinema completed. Okay, this is so better to take first this method and take up to this public void write external. Better to take first method, public void write external, public void write external. Okay, you can take even from the screen also. Public void write external of object output out, only that method, object output out throws IO exception. Throws IO exception. Better to highlight within the box. Highlight within the box. Better to highlight. Can you tell point number 1 about this method? Can you tell when this method will be executed? This method will be executed automatically at the time of serialization. Within this method, which code we require to save? Which code we require to write? We have to write the code to save required variables to the file. Okay, at this point, this method will be executed. This method will be executed automatically. This method will be executed automatically at the time of serialization. This method will be executed automatically at the time of serialization. Okay, next second point. Within this method, we have to write the code. Within this method we have to write the code. We have to write code to save. Within this method we have to write code to save required variables to the file. Within this method we have to write code to save required variables to the file. To save required variables. To save required variables to the file. Required variables to the file. Are you able to understand, right? Let me repeat up to this. Is nothing but line. So once we know write external, counterpart is nothing but what? Read external method. You can easily understand first observe. So let me repeat up to this. Sir, whenever we are trying to serialize an object, immediately JVM will check if the corresponding class implements serializable or externalizable. If the corresponding class implements serializable, save total object. If the corresponding class implements externalizable, oh, programmer don't want total object, programmer want only one or two properties. That's why JVM will execute which method? Write external. So within this method, we have to write the code to save required variables to the file. Is it clear for all of you that up to this? Now let me perform second half. Is nothing but first half got completed. How many variables we saved? Is it all 1000 properties or only 2 properties? Only 2 required properties, right? Let me perform deserialization, right? Now what is the code we have to take? File input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream of abc.ser. Next, what the next one? Object input stream OIS is equal to new object input stream of FIS. Next, can you tell what is the next one? Externalizable. Externalizable demo. T2 is equal to externalizable demo of OIS dot read object, right? Now here only second half of the cinema is a very interesting. Just observe here, like so. Here at the time of serialization, just observe this one. Here I am trying to perform what? Deserialization, right? At the time of deserialization, immediately JVM will check if the corresponding class implements serializable or externalizable. If the corresponding class implements externalizable. If the corresponding class implements serializable, sir, already file contain total object, read that object and returns. Is nothing but like. But if the corresponding class implement externalizable, can you tell what will happen next? Observe carefully. Sir, if it implements externalizable, file contain total object or only variables? Only required variables, file doesn't contain object. But the return type of this method is object. Object I am expecting, but not just one or two variables. What the JVM will do? Here one extra work JVM is going to do. At the time of deserialization, JVM will check is the corresponding class implements externalizable or not. If the corresponding class implements externalizable, file doesn't contain total object. That's why JVM will create a separate new object. JVM will create what? A separate new object by executing public no argument constructor. Are you getting? So compulsory JVM is required to create a separate new object by executing which constructor? Public no argument constructor. So hence every externalizable class should compulsory contain a public no argument constructor. If it is not there, then we will get runtime exception saying invalid class exception. Okay, make sure. Sir, here which constructor must be required? Public no argument constructor. Let me cross check here. Public externalizable demo. I am writing whether it is going to call or not, we can check. So system.out.println, what is this constructor? Public no arg constructor, right? I am keeping this one inside. So if this one is not there, immediately we are going to get runtime exception saying what? Invalid class exception. Same exception whatever we got in the last. Now created an object. Okay, this is. So now T2 is the reference variable, but public no argument constructor instance variable, which values will be assigned? Is nothing but S is equal to null, I is equal to 0, J is equal to 0. Because public no argument constructor means default values will be assigned. Are you getting? Default value is got. So first step, let me repeat once again. At the time of deserialization, if the corresponding class implements externalizable, file doesn't contain total object. That's why JVM will create a new object by executing public no argument constructor, because object is not there in the file, but we require object. That's why JVM creates a new object by executing public no argument constructor. Are you able to understand? On this object, JVM will call which method? Read external method. Are you getting what the second method? Public void. What is the method name? Read external. What is the argument? Object input n throws IO exception, comma, class not found exception. There are two exceptions are there. Okay, within this code, sir, on this object, this method will be called. Within this method, which code we have to write? Can you tell what the remaining job? What is the remaining? Read these properties and assign to the current object. Now, S is equal to, sir, S is equal to, can you tell what is the code? String typecast IN. Okay, object input IN dot read object. Okay, now this Durga is coming and the null will be replaced with what? Durga, right? Next, I is equal to, sir, I value I is equal to IN dot read int. Now this 10 is coming, I value will become 10. Okay, that's all. Only two properties are there. End of this method, right? Now observe, can you tell read external method will be executed at the time of deserialization automatically. Within this method, which code we have to write? We have to write the code to read the required properties from the file and assign to the current object. Are you getting that? Okay, this is. So which properties are there in the file? Two properties, string S and I. Read and assign to the current object, right? Okay, this is first add. Better to highlight. Second method, public void read external, of object input IN throws IO exception, comma, class not found exception. You can take from the screen. Throws IO exception, comma, class not found exception. Better to highlight within the box. Completed, right? Okay, now add. This method will be executed. Automatically. This method will be executed automatically at the time of deserialization. This method will be executed automatically at the time of deserialization. Next, within this method, we have to write code. To read required variables from the file. And assign to current object. To read required variables from the file and assign to current object. Assign to current object. Okay, that's all. Are you getting? To read the required variables from the file and assign to current object, right? Okay, this is next up. But here one point we missed. What is that point, Anna? At the time of deserialization, strictly speaking, first what activity is going to be performed? Create an object by executing public no argument constructor. So on that object read external method will be called. Okay, next para add. But strictly speaking, at the time of deserialization, but strictly speaking, at the time of deserialization, JVM will create a separate new object. At the time of deserialization, JVM will create a separate new object. By executing public no argument constructor. By executing public no argument constructor. Next, on that object JVM will call. Which method? On that object JVM will call read external method. On that object JVM will call read external method. Read external method. That's all. Are you able to understand that? Okay, this is on that object JVM will call which method? Read external method. The terminology is very clear, right? But so every externalizable class or externalizable intraphase implemented class should compulsory contain public no argument constructor. If the class doesn't contain public no argument constructor, sir, here public compulsory, no argument constructor compulsory. It doesn't contain public no argument constructor, then we will get what? Runtime exception saying what that exception? Invalid class exception. Is nothing more runtime exception. By default we are going to get, even by mistake if I remove public also. Problem is there by default. Are you able to understand that? Okay, at this point. Yeah, hence every externalizable implemented class, every externalizable implemented class should compulsory contain public no argument constructor. Otherwise we will get runtime exception. Saying can I spell out what is that one? Invalid class exception. Otherwise we will get runtime exception saying invalid class exception. Otherwise we will get runtime exception saying invalid class exception. Okay, that's all. Are you able to understand that? Okay, this is, so make sure you should. Sir, if it is a serialization, is there any such type of rule? Compulsory class should contain public no argument constructor in serialization? No, because file already contain total object. Bring the total object, not required to create a separate new object. That's why serializable class not required to contain public no argument constructor, but externalizable class should compulsory contain what? Public no argument constructor. Is it clear for all of it? Now observe. Sir, if I am trying to print system.out.println t2.s t2.i t2.j. Sir, can you tell what the answer? t2.s Durga, t2.i what the answer? 10. t2.j what the answer? 0, right? Durga 10 0. Sir, immediately ask, sir, j value we are missing. Array j I don't want whether it is a 0 or non-zero, what is the problem? Because I want only S and I. That's why I got S and I proper values, no problem at all. That's all. This is what is externalization, right? Are you able to understand? Okay, this is what is externalization like. Let me execute. Here, can you please have a look? Here, same example. 1 minute. Here, see. String S, int I, int j. So it is a public no argument constructor is there. Next argument constructor anyway common. Next write external method. So here saving S and I. Next read, here this method is nothing but what? Read external. Next read S value, read I value and assign. Next here just observe this one. Sir, I am creating externalizable demo. Next performing serialization and performing deserialization, and I am trying to print t2.s, t2.i, t2.j. But at the time of deserialization, compulsory public no argument constructor should be executed or not? Yes, that's why even I kept a public no argument constructor SOP, whether it is calling or not I have to check. That's why here see. So can you tell, if I run this code, implements externalizable only. If I run this code, what is the output I will get? If I run this code, what is the output we will get? Make sure the output we are going to get first at the time of deserialization, public no argument constructor called public no argument constructor, and then SOP. What is the answer? Durga 10 followed by 0. Durga 10 followed by 0. Now whether we are going to get or not, just observe. Sir, here see, I am taking Java C externalizable demo.java. Next Java externalizable demo. What is the output by default we are going to get? Have you observed? Public no argument constructor followed by Durga 10 0. Is it clear for all of you? Look at this. Sir, suppose I want to make a small change for this. My small change is, instead of implementing externalizable, let me take serializable. Can you tell what is the answer now? Serializable. What is the answer now? If the class implements serializable, total object will be saved. Total object is going to come. What is the answer we are going to get? Durga 10 20. In this case, public no argument constructor will be called? No, because already file contain total object. That's why what is the answer by default we are going to get? Just observe this one, sir. Implement serializable like I am taking. Now what is the answer? Observe the code compiles fine. The answer is Durga 10 20. Public no argument constructor won't be called. Is it clear? Sir, if it is externalizable, have you observed externalizable only? Then what is the answer? Externalizable. What is the answer? Public no argument constructor followed by Durga 10 0. Sir, if it is externalizable, but the class doesn't contain public no argument constructor. Sir, I am removing public. What will happen? Compulsory. So the code compiles fine. Have you observed? Exception in the thread main. What is that exception? Invalid class exception. Externalizable demo. What is the output? I mean no valid constructor like. Are you getting? Compulsory class should contain public no argument constructor. Clear for all of you? Look at this. First take this example. Take this one. excellent concept what we have. Externalization. Most of the people doesn't have so idea on this concept. Even for a SCJP it's not required, because purely for the sake of interview room. Here in this example just we are saving only two properties, not all properties. Assume that class contains 1000 properties, but I want to save only two properties, because these two methods are central methods in externalization. Write external, read external. Public void, write external of object output out throws IO exception. Void, read external, throws IO exception, comma, class not found exception. Class not found exception. Simple demo program. Can you explain externalization, serialization with an example? Then you people should be in a position to explain. Take clearly. Completed, right? Externalizable demo. T1 is equal to new externalizable demo of Durga 1020. File output stream, object output stream, OOS dot write object of T1. I hope. example. So the program completed, right? And after take this diagram. Take the diagram clearly. Completed, right? Next one, after writing this, write complete this one, and then just 2 lines I will add so that we can complete. Completed, right? Next one, I hope you people took this. Complete the diagram. Okay, now add the theory. Just only 2 lines. Add the theory. If the class implements serializable, if the class implements serializable, then total object will be saved to the file. Then total object will be saved to the file. Total object will be saved to the file. In this case, output is. You have to tell what is the output. In this case, output is Durga 10, 20, like better to take Durga 10, 20. This is the output. Next up, if the class implements externalizable, if the class implements externalizable, then only required variables, externalizable, then only required variables will be saved to the file. Only required variables will be saved to the file. In this case, output is. Can I spell out what the output? Public no arg constructor. Followed by what? Durga 10, 0. Public no arg constructor Durga 10, 0. Public no arg constructor followed by Durga 10, 0. That's all. Are you able to understand that? Okay. So this is what is the difference between serialization, externalization. So in the last session, just we covered about externalization. Are you getting? Serialization, externalization, the basic difference I hope you people got. Okay, this is. Now let me execute the same program once again. Okay, and let me show there are some more conclusions I have to explain. But before that, can you tell when we should go for externalization? If you want to save part of the object, then we should go for externalization. Okay, serialization, externalization, performance wise which one is good? Externalization is the best choice with respect to performance, right? Okay, now let me explain here. Just observe, let me run the same example whatever we covered in the last session. Okay, yeah, can I spell out what is the name of the program? Externalization demo. Okay, let me run this program, right? Externalizable demo. Yes, same example. Yes, public class externalizable demo implements what? Externalizable. Next string one thing. So now if I open abc.ser file, now just observe this one. Let me go for C colon Durga classes. In the abc.ser file is there. abc.ser file, yes. So sir, can you spell out how many bytes abc.ser file, how many bytes are 54 bytes. The people who can able to see this one is nothing but how many 54 bytes. Am I implement serializable or externalizable? Am I implement serializable or externalizable? In externalizable, only required variables will be saved to the file, but not the total object. That's why file size may be small. How many number of bytes? I hope you can able to see. How many number of bytes? 54 bytes. If you consider 54 bytes is the abc.ser. Now I am taking implement serializable, like I am taking. Sir, implement serializable. If I can keep implement serializable, then to the file more data will be saved or not? Yes. Then what is the output by default you are going to get? Let me run this code. Yes sir, the code compiles fine. Let me run. Is nothing but like Durga 1020. Let me search once again, right here. See. So 1 minute. Let me go back. So a new file got created, I'm sure. Let me check. Okay. Durga classes. Like what is the name of the file? abc.ser file. Have you observed? Now what is the size of this file? 88 bytes. Are you getting right? Earlier how many bytes? 54 bytes. Now how many bytes? 88 bytes. Is nothing in serialization more data will be saved to the file, but in externalization lesser data will be saved to the file with respect to the file also, right? Okay. Now observe the next very important point. Of course this is one small observation you people should aware. Next one more very important conclusion I want to talk with respect to, okay, one more very important conclusion I want to talk here. Just observe, sir, in serialization who is saving our object data? Who is saving to the file? JVM is saving, correct or not? JVM is saving the data to the file, is nothing but like. But in externalization, who is saving data to the file? Programmer. Do you know in which method we have to write the code? Have you remembered in the last class? What is that method? Write external. Like now I am taking out dot write object of, yes, out dot write int of I. Not required to keep any explanation. It's a part of last program whatever you do. Now my point is, sir, at the time of serialization, if you don't want to save the value of a particular variable, so I have to convey, oh JVM, don't save S value or don't save I value. If you don't want to save the value of a particular variable to meet the security constraint, or getting, if you don't want to save the value of a particular variable to meet security constraint, then that variable we have to declare with the transient keyword. Have you remembered, right? In serialization, if you don't want to save the value of a particular variable to meet security constraint, that variable we have to declare with the transient keyword. Any explanation is required? Now if I declare these variables as transient, can you tell in serialization which data will be saved to the file? Null 00. Now null 00 is going to come, correct or not? Now observe this one. Sir, here I am taking, see, every variable is a transient. I am taking transient. Sir, every variable is nothing but like I am taking transient. Next here also transient I am taking. Transient string, yes, transient int I, transient int j. Now instead of Durga 1020, what the answer by default you are going to get? Just observe null 00. So transient keyword will play role in serialization, correct or not? Okay, this is because we covered already as a separate topic, right? But now in externalization, who is the responsible to save data to the file? Programmer, right? Sir, while performing serialization, if you don't want to save the value of a particular variable If you don't want to save the value of a particular variable, then don't save that variable. Are you getting? Who is saving the data? Who is saving the data? Programmer only. Who is writing data to the file? Programmer only. Sir, I don't want to save the value of a particular variable to meet security concern. Then don't save that variable. Are you getting? Because who is writing? Programmer only. Can you tell transient keyword, is it required or not required in externalization? Not required, because who is saving data to the file? Programmer only. If you don't want to save the value of a particular variable, then don't save that variable. Are you able to get right? Okay, say, sir, in serialization, who is saving data to the file? JVM is saving. That's why you have to convey to the JVM saying, JVM, don't save S value or don't save I value. That's why I have to declare these variables as a transient. But in externalization, transient keyword not required. Even you are declaring variable as a transient, there is no impact at all. Are you getting that? Now observe this one. Sir, I am taking implements externalizable. Implements externalizable. Like I am taking implements externalizable. Now all variables are transient. All variables are transient. What is the output by default you are going to get? Is nothing but just the same public no argument constructor followed by what? Durga 10 0. Right? Are you getting? Public no argument constructor Durga 10 0. Whether variables are transient or not, whether the variables are transient or not, there is no effect in externalization concept. Are you getting? So transient keyword won't play any role in externalization. Of course, a transient keyword not required in externalization concept. Any explanation is required, because who is saving data to the file? Programmer saving. Sir, if you don't want to save, don't write that line. Is nothing but, because if JVM is saving, then I have to convey to the JVM. JVM, don't save this value because it is secure. But in externalization, who is writing data to the file? Programmer only. Then don't save that if you don't want. What is the need of transient keyword? Right? That's why transient keyword won't play any role in externalization. Of course, a transient keyword not required in externalization. Right? Any explanation is required at this point. Take a note. In serialization, transient keyword. In serialization, transient keyword will play role. In serialization, transient keyword will play role. Transient keyword will play role. But in externalization, transient keyword, but in externalization, transient keyword won't play any role. Transient keyword won't play any role. Of course, transient keyword won't play any role. Of course, transient keyword not required in externalization. Of course, a transient keyword not required in externalization. Transient keyword not required in externalization. Okay, that's all. So programmatically, even I showed in externalization there is no use of transient keyword, because programmer is responsible to save data to the file. That's all. So this is the last conclusion what we have to talk with respect to externalization concept. Right now, let me summarize the differences between serialization and externalization in tabular form, so that you people can have clarity. Keep submitting. Differences between serialization and the externalization. Differences between serialization and externalization. and externalization. Differences between serialization and externalization. Okay. Now the first point, and I make sure you people should be aware. Can I use the term serialization is meant up for default serialization? Correct or not? Everything is going to take care by JVM. That's why it is meant up for default serialization. But externalization meant up for customized serialization, because we are responsible, right? Customized serialization. Don't write, just legend. Next, in serialization, everything takes care by JVM. Programmer doesn't have any control. Are you getting? Everything takes care by JVM. Programmer doesn't have any control. But in externalization, everything takes care by programmer. JVM doesn't have any control. Okay. Next, in serialization, okay, it is always possible to save total object to the file. It's always possible to save total object and not possible to save part of the object. Are you getting? Next, in externalization, it is possible to save either part of the object or total object to the file. Based on our requirement, if you want, you can save all properties, or if you want, you can save only one or two properties, no problem at all. Okay. Now fourth one. Okay. Can you tell? So relatively performance is low or high? Performance is low. But what about relatively performance is high? Next, serialization is the best choice. Serialization is the best choice if you want to save total object to the file. Are you getting? Externalization is the best choice if you want to save part of the object to the file. Part of the object to the file. Next, observe. Sir, serializable interface doesn't contain any methods. Correct or not? That's why serializable interface is a marker interface, right? But externalizable interface contain two methods, write external, read external. That's why it is not marker interface, right? Okay. Next, have you remembered, there is one point I have to explain. Even I explained. At the time of deserialization, in the case of externalizable, JVM is always going to create new object by executing public no argument constructor. Correct or not? Sir, externalizable implemented class should compulsory contain public no argument constructor. Correct or not? If a public no argument constructor is not there, then we will get runtime exception saying invalid class exception. Invalid class exception. Sir, can you tell, is there any such type of requirement in serialization? No. Is there nothing but there is no. So, not required to contain public no argument constructor. Last one. Here last one. Transient keyword play role in serialization or not? Yes. Transient keyword of course play very important role. But in externalization, transient keyword won't play any role. Of course, it won't be required. Are you getting? It won't be required first. I hope. Are you getting? If any person can ask, what is the difference between serialization and externalization? Happily, you can tell all these 8 differences. Right? Is it clear for all of you? Right? Okay. Take this. Ayo. Take all. Very neat, posh English, right? You want me to dictate? Add the first point. It is meant for default serialization. It is meant for default serialization. And for default serialization. Next other side. It is meant for customized serialization. It's meant for customized serialization. And for customized serialization. Next, second. Here everything takes care by Here everything takes care by JVM. Here everything takes care by JVM, and the programmer doesn't have any control. Here everything takes care by JVM, and the programmer doesn't have any control. Programmer doesn't have any control. Next, other side. Here everything takes care by programmer. Here everything takes care by programmer. Everything takes care by programmer, and JVM doesn't have any control. JVM doesn't have any control. Next, in this case, third point, in this case it is always possible to save. In this case it's always possible to save. Total object to the file. It's always possible to save total object to the file. And it is not possible to save. Part of the object. And it's not possible to save part of the object. Next, other side. Based on our requirement, we can save. Either total object. We can save either total object or part of the object. Based on our requirement, we can save either total object or part of the object. Next, fourth point. Relatively performance is low. Relatively performance is low. Next, other side. Relatively performance is high. Next, it is the best choice. If we want to save, it is the best choice if we want to save total object to the file. It is the best choice if we want to save total object to the file. Best choice if you want to save total object to the file. Next, it is the best choice. Other side. It is the best choice if we want to save. It is the best choice if we want to save part of the object to the file. If we want to save part of the object to the file. If we want to save part of the object to the file. Next one. Serializable interface doesn't contain. Serializable interface doesn't contain any methods. Serializable interface doesn't contain any methods. And it is a marker interface. Serializable interface doesn't contain any methods, and it is a marker interface. And it's a marker interface. Next, externalizable interface contains two methods. Externalizable interface contains two methods. Write external contains two methods. Write external and read external contains two methods. Write external and read external. And hence it is not a marker interface. and hence it is not a marker interface, and hence it is not a marker interface, not a marker interface. Are you getting the point? Right? Okay, this next one. Next, serializable implemented class, serializable implemented class, serializable implemented class not required to contain, serializable implemented class not required to contain, serializable implemented class not required to contain public no argument constructor, not required to contain public no argument constructor, not required to contain public no argument constructor. Next, other side, externalizable implemented class, externalizable implemented class should compulsory contain public no argument constructor, should compulsory contain public no argument constructor, should compulsory contain public no argument constructor. Otherwise we will get runtime exception, otherwise we will get runtime exception saying can I spell out what is that exception? We will get runtime exception saying invalid class exception, otherwise we will get runtime exception saying invalid class exception. Okay, that's all. Next one. Next, last point, add transient keyword will play, transient keyword will play a role, transient keyword will play a role in serialization, transient keyword will play a role in serialization. But what about this one? Transient keyword won't play any role in externalization. Add transient keyword won't play any role, transient keyword won't play any role in externalization, transient keyword won't play any role in externalization. Of course it won't be required, first it's not required, of course it won't be required, that's all. Are you able to understand? So these are the differences between serializable and externalizable, right, or serialization and externalization. If any person can ask in an interview room, can you tell what are various differences between serialization and externalization? Compulsory you people should have clear clarity. Are you able to understand it? So total 8 differences we cover. Compulsory you should aware these anywhere, right?